it's just kind of silly when you reduce somebody to just what they said without really putting the proper context of what they meant, or even in the greater aspects of their life. Hey, maybe we give the person the benefit of the doubt. But if this is consistent, if this is, more rigid, if this is more, intentional, then it's different. Look at J.K. Rowling, for instance. And people in England have been trying to come after her
I know.
for the statement she's made about
Transgender.
transgender. But she's got a valid point.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
When you're born a male, you are a male. She's not. Actually, she's like, I affirm people who do this, but let's just be real here. There is an athletic, there is a physical, there is an advantage that those people have, and we should just be real about it. Just like this new guy swimming at Penn State. The guy was swimming as a male athlete, right? For, I don't know, 3 years maybe. He's been living as a male for what? All his life. And then all of a sudden he decided, wow, I want to be famous. Wow, I want to be a trailblazer and make this thing about me. So I'm going to transition over a year. And if I was, Steve and now I'm Eve, and then all of a sudden he's just breaking every record in the books.
It's like that bodybuilder, and
Yes,
there's a
in
few
New
of them.
Zealand, yeah.
They were competing against men, losing, and now they're competing against women and winning. And it's like,
No.
how are you okay with that? I don't understand it. And I've been called a transphobe because I posted about it. And I am the least transphobic person ever. To each their own, do whatever you want. But as you say, let's be real.
We gotta be real.
It's
We gotta be real.
so unfair to
Yeah.
the women who have been
Of
training
course.
their whole lives for this. It's just, I can't believe that this is the world that we live in, and that J.K. Rowling can be cancelled. But
Right.
Dave Chappelle came out with a comedy. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch it, but I heard about
Ooh,
it.
he went hard. I thought it was hilarious, and he had some valid points, but he really tore through a lot of that.
Of course. No, it's absolute lunacy, but because of cowardice. See, corporations are so cowardly that because all they think is the bottom dollar, they would not stand up against this. So then it's giving power and rise like a wild flame to this destructive ideology.
So destructive.
When you look at, there's this great book that Schreier just wrote, Abigail Schreier. She just wrote, and she researched this whole phenomenon of transgenderism in teenage girls. And she's like, whoa, I see something that's just not part of the history that we know about transgender. Over the last 10 years, almost 15% of girls now all of a sudden are transgender. When throughout history it's been 0.2%, 1% or whatever, mostly male to female. What's going on? And so she associated this phenomenon to social media, just like this, what do we call it? That phenomenon where people just kind of like get into this craze. What do you call it? Like when there's a suicide, let's say there's a suicide by a famous person, and then if we keep talking about this in the media, contagion. There's a contagion a factor of it. See? And so history has kind of demonstrated that. So with those young girls, they're sitting on their screens 24/7, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and they're seeing all of these influencers, transgender influencers, and so that's what they focused on, and those influencers are teaching them how to transition, telling them how nobody understands them. Then all of a sudden, you see that effect.
Yeah.
Those girls had no struggle with dysphoria at all, which is one of the preconditions really for this. There's a sense of I don't know who I really am because there's a conflict between my physical, self and what I feel inside. They don't have any of that. No history of dysphoria. But then all of a sudden it's like boom, everybody's transgender, and then the person that I know is transgender, and then it's like she's like, this is a phenomenon created by social media.
And is that also, does that link in, do you think, to a sense of needing or searching for validation and for
It's a void.
individuality?
It's a
Yeah.
meaning crisis. It's a void. We nowadays, if you look at the school system, we are only preparing the kids to pass an exam. We're not getting them to learn and integrate knowledge
Yeah.
into being. Like John Vervaeke said this powerfully. He says we need to get away from the having mode of, man, I have a degree, man, I have, into a being mode. See, it's a whole switch shift into how I perceive the world. My perspective changes. My experience with the world changes, actually.